So today, we're at the beach. I'm gonna show you how to deal with that. How to get great pictures in harsh conditions at the beach. Because you know what? Clients kind of like seeing the water in their beach pictures. Here we go. All right, so what we have is Derica against this bright sky. Did I mention it's bright? We are in Florida, and this is the beach. This is Clearwater Beach, as a matter of fact. And today I'm shooting with a Sony a7 III. I have a Godox X Pro for Sony transmitter, and I'm using a Godox AD600. Now this is not the AD600 Pro. I'm cheap. I didn't opt for the more expensive version. I got the cheaper one, but it works really, really well. So today what we're gonna do is show you how to balance for this. Now, just because I know it's super bright right now, and it's just one person, I'm not too far away, I set that to full power, just to see what can happen. And I'm gonna set up my camera to take a shot. Easy way to do that, turn off the transmitter. With mirrorless cameras, if you don't do that, it won't show you what you really see when the camera takes the picture. In other words, I want to set my exposure for back there and then use the flash to fill in her face, right? Because you understand it's two exposures, right? One out there, one right here, using that flash. This is how we do that. I'm gonna get my exposure set. I'm gonna use the viewfinder because out here at this time of day, it's really hard to see the LCD screen. Now, if I took this shot right now, Derica just looks totally black. She's almost silhouetted. I'm not even gonna take it because it's not worth taking right now. But I'm trying to get a little bit of detail in that sky, and wow, I had to go all the way down. I am at 1/8,000th of a second at f1.8 at 100 ISO. So now I'm gonna turn my flash back on and aim the camera at Derica. She's just gonna be all sorts of cute like she always is. Take the picture. Okay, right off the bat, it's a little bit bright, but it's not actually all that bad. So 1:1 power was just a little bit too much. So I dial it down. I'm thinking 1/4 power is probably plenty. So we're gonna do that again, one more time. Notice she's turning a little bit towards the light for me. She kind of knows how to do this stuff. That way we get a better photo in the end. And what we get, I'll show it to you, you'll see it right here on the screen, is this beautiful portrait of Derica. She's lit well, the sky is showing. We don't have what I call B&W, blown highlights and white skies. It's not black and white, it's blown highlights and yeah. Okay, so that's problem one, right? So if I back up a little bit more and do a horizontal shot, I can get the same idea, and we just balance her against that sky. Now, you might notice I have a reflector on here instead of a softbox. We started with the 47-inch softbox, and it almost blew over. So we went down to the 32-inch softbox, and it almost blew over. It's very windy today. So we're using just a 7-inch reflector. Now, obviously we know the larger the modifier you use, the softer your light. Sometimes you have to make do with what you have. This is one of those moments. We just have to make do with what we have to work with. I'm gonna adjust the camera position just a little bit, and we're gonna get another shot using some of these COs. All right, so here we are again. I moved the light back from her a little bit, and I'm actually gonna angle it back down. I fixed it, thought I fixed it, and put it up just a touch. I actually want it to aim pretty much right about here so that we can fill her whole body. Now, some of the tricks that you'll learn about doing this is don't shoot full body. Everybody wants to shoot full body all the time, but if you shoot full body, now you have to worry about where's your spill on the bottom, especially when you're not using a modifier. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to set up my exposure just like we did before. I already know what it's going to be, but I'm going to do it anyway just for the sake of teaching. We're going to move back here a little bit, make sure you guys can still see me on camera. Oh, look at that, you can still see me. From here, I can get a full body shot of Derica, and what I'm going to do is I'm setting up my exposure. I have it, it's just pegged. f1.8, 8,000th of a second, but I get a little bit of sky behind her. Now I'm just going to turn my flash back on, and let's have you just point your left foot towards me a little bit. Yep, just like that, and look a little bit towards the main camera, just like that. We're going to side light you just a touch. Arms down to your sides a bit more, maybe just your left one out a bit. Yeah, like that. Pop the hip, pop the hip. Oh, no, you're fine, you're good. And what we get is this beautiful full body shot, but if you notice at the bottom, there's two shadows. The one shadow is facing towards us, that's from the sun, the other one is from the flash. Makes it look pretty unnatural. But if I just take a half a step towards her, do the exact same thing, she's smiling at me, and I get her from like thighs up, we call it a 3/4, boom, you'll see that. Okay, that's a trick. Now, so far I've been using High Speed Synch only. I've been shooting just using the flash, and I'm shooting at f1.8. Now what I want to point out is when you look at these photos, you'll notice that maybe her eyes are sharp, but once we get to about here on her face, you see nothing. It starts to blur. Once we get towards like the ears and other details or hair, you don't really see that as much. So that High Speed Synch does a lot of good for us. But here's my big fear with High Speed Synch is you are giving up a lot of power, and everybody wants to shoot wide open. In this instance, I got nothing behind her to blur. There's really just no reason to have to worry about it. So instead of trying to figure this out, I'm gonna make that sky go a lot darker by adjusting my aperture. And I'm just gonna pick a random aperture of, oh, let's go with f13, just cause. I'm gonna turn off my transmitter. I'm going to point this at Derica, and I'm going to reset my shutter speed, because now I don't have to worry so much. I can probably not even use High Speed Synch. Oh, look at that, 2/50th of a second, I can do it. So at 2/50th of a second, I have the same idea. Now I'm going to show you something here. I have not changed the power of this flash. It's still at 4th power, but I'm now shooting at f13. I'm going to aim it at her, and boom, take the shot. And like I expected, it's a little bit overexposed. Why is it overexposed? That flash is now able to put out its regular power. It's not using High Speed Synch. So all I need to do is turn it down just a little bit. And this is what I like about the X Pro transmitter. You just press the button for the channel you want to hit. I just have it on A, so I go A, turn the dial, boom, power's changed. So let's try that one more time. I'm now down to an 1/8 power on that flash, but I am at a 2/50th of a second, f13, and yeah, that's so much better. She fits into that frame nicely. The light is hitting her face. It's actually not even all that harsh. Oh, we got a sailboat coming in. Let me just get a shot with you and the sailboat behind you. See now, there's a shot right there that would be almost impossible to do without flash. And why is that? Because if I don't have something lighting her up, that sailboat and her are in completely different situations. There's no way I can make her lit and that lit at the same time. So either she's gonna blow out or the sailboat's gonna be black. Flash is your friend. It lets me expose for her and let that fall into whatever it falls into. Make sense? All right, so now I have Derica sitting. This is a pretty typical situation. We found a little bit of something to add some interest. We're not shooting directly into the sun anymore. We've reduced the exposure, but what I have is this really hot area on the right side of her face, the left side from where you're looking at. And in order to get rid of that and keep some of the detail in the background, I'm gonna use, flash, because that's what this is all about, right? So what I wanna do, just like before, I'm gonna turn everything off. I'm gonna set my exposure. Now I'm exposing for that background, which is a different background now. I can actually drop this down to, oh wow, that's actually not bad at all, f5.6. Let me make sure that's right. f5.6 on my background looks pretty good. Now because of that, I don't think this light's gonna need quite as much power. I'm gonna drop this down to like a 30-second power, just guessing. Now keep in mind, this is manual. Everything here is manual. I'm setting the shutter, I'm setting the aperture. Nothing is automatic. The camera doesn't, the lights don't do so well in High Speed Synch mode with automatic. Let's just take a look at that. Oh, it's a little too much. And she didn't smile at me. I like it when she smiles at me. I know, the whole classic portrait without a smile, but I don't know, I'm a smiley kind of guy. There's that smile. Beautiful. Hold right there. Beautiful. And that's so much better. Now what we have is this natural progression of the light. It's still just a touch too hard on the side of her face there, so I'm going to drop my exposure down to f8. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to shoot this one horizontal so that you can just see her face. There we go. So much better. Now it's just filling in her face without overexposing anything. I'm going to have you stand up and maybe move over towards that other little berm there. Right about there. That's perfect. Okay, now I want you to look off that way so that the wind blows your hair out of your face. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put this light way over here. Very precarious. And what the light's going to do is rim light her hair. This is going to be a hair light now. I'm using the light in a completely different way. A little while ago, we were using it as the main light. Now I'm setting it up to be a hair light. So all it's really going to do is just light up the sides of her hair from the back, separating her just a touch more from that background. To start with, I'm going to leave it at the same power, which is 130. Well, actually now it's at 1/64th power. And let's see how this does. But again, I got to get my exposure. So now I'm setting my exposure on her. I don't want to blow out her dress or anything like that, but I'm trying to keep it at a 2/50th of a second, because that is my sync shutter speed. And then take the picture, and we have this lovely light across the back of her on this shot. Now, you can do this with high speed sync as well, and all you got to do is drop down from f8 to f1.8, raise my shutter speed until she's exposed properly, or more or less, and then take the picture. So now I'm at 6400th of a second at f1.8, and let's see what that looks like. Pretty much the same shot. The main difference is going to be that background blurred just a little bit more from f6.3, or f8 actually, down to f1.8. Okay, so now see where she is? We can have her turn towards me just a little bit more. Notice I'm not moving anything. I'm staying back here, she's up there. We can just turn her a little bit and we get a whole different shot, but it's still the same idea. Now that is more or less my main light. I'm lighting up her face with it, and now it could use a little bit more power. So I was at 1/64th, for those of you paying attention. I'm going to 1/32nd, and I'm squinting because that thing's bright. This is one thing that I regret about the Sony system over the Canon. When I shot Canon, it was much easier to see the screen on the back, whereas with Sony now, I'm forced to use the viewfinder, which I got a screen for a reason. I like the screen, but outside in bright conditions, man, that viewfinder just works a whole lot better for me. So let me just take a quick look at that shot. Oh, we can light that up just a little bit more. I'm actually going to go all the way to a 16th power, but you notice, it's because we're using high speed sync. I'm losing all that power. In a second, I'm going to do this with regular sync, and you'll see the difference. That is a lot better. It's a really cool shot. Getting some light into her eyes, filling that up just a little tiny bit. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drop down to, say, f8, and I'm going to open up my shutter speed all the way down to 250, and let's see if I shut my transmitter off. How's that background? That's looking pretty good. And now we'll see how much more power this has. All right. Oh, wow. See, right off the bat, I can tell already this is easily 2 stops more than we need. So I'm going to drop that down to 64th power from a 16th power. It's amazing to me the difference. And watch the rocks in the background when I do this shot. When I do that shot with it at, well, I'm only shooting at f8, there shouldn't be that much difference. The rocks aren't really all that much less blurry. So many people get hung up on the gotta shoot it wide open thing. Don't get so worried about that. You want to have all of your subject in focus. If she's straight at the camera like this, both eyes are on the same plane, but if she turns, now they're on different planes. At f1.4 and sometimes 1.8, you can miss one or the other eye. And if you catch this eye, now this one's blurry, that just looks weird. Everything in a picture can be blurry except for the eyes. As long as both eyes are sharp, the photo is acceptable to humans. For some reason, that's just how we work. Since we're here, I'm just going to take another couple photos. She's going to smile at me. All right. What I'm trying to show you is how you can get multiple shots from the same camera position. Well, not camera position, but from the same model and light position. So if I go all the way over here, and try not to fall into any of these holes, now I have a completely different angle that I'm looking at, and you probably can't even see me yet. There, now I'm probably in the shot. Let's check. Hiya. Hi. Okay, but now the light is at a different angle relative to her face than from when I was over here. So before we were more side lighting, now it's almost going to give her a little bit of a Rembrandt look. And I'm using her to block the people that are over there at the beach that I don't want in my shot. That's another trick of shooting at the beach with people around. You use your models to block people off. Stand up a little bit straighter for me. Point your left foot towards the light. Maybe put your forearm, your right arm on your hip. Yep, and your other arm, just hold it out from your body, not quite so much. And turn your head a little bit more that way. You're looking off at those buildings. You're just far too important for this. Perfect, just like that. Now, I'm gonna reset my exposure just because I'm seeing some stuff back there. I wanna see it in the shot. So I am totally taking it down. I'm at f22 now. This is kind of crazy. I don't know. Let's go to 14, f14. It's a good number. I'm gonna turn my light back on. Now that I've turned it down that much, I do need a little bit more power, but you're gonna see where this is almost a turning day into night type of shot. And I'm just gonna focus on her and take the shot. See, now that light is lighting her up, but the background is still quite dark. And there we go. Beautiful. Stay right there. Turn your face just a little bit more towards me. Make eye contact with the camera for me. Right there, just like that. Get a little bit of the rocks in the background. All right, beautiful. And what you see there is she's lit nicely. It almost looks more like a natural kind of shot. It doesn't really look like flash was used, and that's the idea. If you make it look like flash is used all the time, your shots start to look a little weird. So, to recap, there are times that you get stuck shooting in a place that, while it may look really beautiful, is really hard to shoot. We actually chose the time of day. It's just now an hour before sunset. We started an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes before sunset. So it was really harsh conditions. And every once in a while, you'll get a client that's having their wedding at that time of day, or a family that can only do their portraits at that time of day. It's good to know how to use some off-camera flash techniques, and there's several. If you have a group of 8 or 9 people and they're stacked and you have to do different things, you want more depth of field. Shooting wide open isn't gonna work. High speed sync is gonna ruin that photo. So use your depth of field. Shoot at f13, f14. You'll get that little kid's nose from the front row all the way back to grandpa's ear in the back. It's a good thing. But if you have one model and there's a really busy background or a lot of people along the beach and you need to isolate them, that's when you use that shallow depth of field, and that's where high speed sync is going to save you. It's just a balancing act. Remember, there's 2 exposures. You set one for everything in the background, you set the other one for what you're shooting. Didn't she do such a great job? She makes such a great model. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. Thanks so much for watching.